All right, I want to go with you now live to the opening ceremonies, celebration of Smithsonian's newest museum, featuring the history and the culture of African Americans here on the National Mall.
All right, looks like Robert De Niro there stepping up to the podium to speak with Angela Bassett at this ceremony. We know that former President George W. Bush will speak, and we'll hear from President Obama next hour.
And we will be seeing you back here again tomorrow morning, but for the moment, we want to pass it over to Frederica Whitfield.
All right, thank you, Christy and
morning,
Victor.
Fred.
Appreciate we're going to continue to monitor what's taking place there in Washington as Angela Bassett and Robert De Niro will soon be introducing Congressman John Lewis, obviously having a very pivotal role in the civil rights movement, the first president of a SNCC organization when he was a very young man. He was very instrumental in helping to get that legislation passed in 2003 when President George W. Bush, who will also be speaking momentarily, to sign that legislation to make and release funding for that new African American museum there at the Smithsonian. Of course, when that happens, we'll dip into it. Meantime, it is the 11 o'clock Eastern hour. We are live here from Hofstra University in Hempstead, New York, site of the first presidential debate just 2 days away now. I am Frederica Whitfield. Newsroom starts right now. All right, and this breaking news, we continue to monitor the developments out in Washington state. We'll, of course, get back to politics here. But first, I want to update you on the breaking news that we have been following since late last night. At any moment now, we expect to hear from police who are in the middle of a massive manhunt. They have been looking for a man who opened fire at a shopping mall in Washington state, killing 5 people. It happened at a Macy's store about an hour outside of Seattle, and police say the victims, 4 women and 1 man, were all near a makeup counter at a Macy's store when a man walked in with a rifle and then started shooting. That man, seen in grainy video that you're about to see right there, surveillance photo. That man is still on the CNN producer Alberto Moya is at the press conference, which will get underway very momentarily. So, Alberto, what more can you tell us about the investigation and where they are targeting this search?
Sure, Frederica. We're here waiting, as you said, in the next few minutes. We hope to hear from several agencies involved in the search for this individual. As you mentioned, we just don't have a whole lot of information other than that grainy photo. There was a very brief description that was issued along with that photograph. The police describe him as a Hispanic young man, somewhere between the ages of 20 to 25. And he apparently is the main suspect in the shootout that took place at the Macy's store at a mall that's not too far from here. So we hope to hear from the mayor of Burlington, the town where this incident took place. The assistant police chief is also supposed to brief us here, so hopefully we'll get some additional details about this manhunt. We have been spending some time out in the streets looking for police activity, and we did notice that there were troopers that were stationed all the way back to Seattle. So we hope to get more information and bring that to you live in the next few minutes.
All right, thank you so much, Alberto Moya. Appreciate that. And of course, when the press conference gets underway, we'll take you there live. All right, meantime, let's go to the nation's capital. Congressman John Lewis at the official opening of the new Smithsonian African American Museum.
Mr. Chief Justice and members of the Board of Regents, to the Museum Advisory Council, Secretary David Scoton, and Dr. Lonnie Bunch, to the leadership of the United States Congress and all of my colleagues in both the House and Senate, in memory of the late Representative Mickey Leland of Texas, the architects of this incredible building, and to all of the staff of the White House, the federal agencies, the Congress, the Smithsonian, who pushed and pulled together to make this moment happen. And to all of the construction companies and their crews, I say thank you. Thank you for all you did to help lead our society to this magnificent day. As long as there is the United States of America, now there will be a National Museum of African American History and Culture. This is a great achievement. I tell you, I feel like singing the song Mahalia Jackson sung at the March on Washington over 50 years ago, How We Got Over, How We Got Over. There were some who said it couldn't happen, who said you can't do it, but we did it, we did it. We're gathered here today to dedicate a building, but this place is more than a building. It is a dream come true. You and I, each and every one of us, were caught up in a seed of light. We were a vision born in the minds of Black Civil War veterans and their supporters. They met right here in Washington, D.C. in 1916, exactly 100 years ago. The 19th Street Baptist Church, still in existence today. Oh, sir, see what a dream can do. If you could roll up the sleeves of those veterans, attached rubble on their backs, you might find the wounds or shackles and whips. Most could not read the Declaration of Independence or write their own names. But in their hearts, burn an enduring vision of true democracy that no threat or death could ever erase. They understood the meaning of their contribution. They set a possibility in motion, passing down through the ages from heart to heart and breath to breath. That we are giving birth today to this museum is a testament to the dignity of the dispossessed in every corner of the globe who yearn for freedom. It is a song to the scholars and scribes, scientists and teachers, to the revolutionaries and the voices of protest, to the ministers and the authors of peace. It is the story of life, the story of our lives, wrapped up in a beautiful golden crown of grace. I can hear the distant voice of our ancestors whispering by the night fire, still away home, we ain't got long to stay here. A big, bold choir shouting, I woke up this morning with my mind stand on freedom. All their voices roaming for centuries have found to find their home here in this great monument to our pain, our suffering, and our victory. When I was a little child growing up in rural Alabama, a short walk to the cotton fields, but hundreds of miles from Washington, from the Washington Monument or the Lincoln Memorial, my teachers would tell us to cut out photographs of pictures of great African American for Carter G. Woodson's Negro History Week, now called African American History Month. I became inspired by the stories of George Washington Carver, Jackie Robinson, Rosa Parks, and so many others whose life and work will be enshrined in this museum. As these doors open, it is my hope that each and every person who visits this beautiful museum will walk away deeply inspired, filled with a greater respect for the dignity and the worth of every human being, and a stronger commitment to the ideal of justice, equality, and true democracy. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, former First Lady of the United States, Mrs. Laura Bush.
I'm thrilled to be here today. This is such a really terrific day. On December 16, 2003, President George W. Bush authorized the legislation for the establishment of a new Smithsonian Museum, the National Museum of African American History and Culture. When I toured the museum with Dr. Lonnie Bunch last week, we reminisced about those beginning days of the museum. The legislation had been authorized. The site had been secured. Lonnie had been hired as the museum's director. I'll never forget Lonnie's poignant words when we considered the historic and cultural significance of what was to become. Lonnie paused for dramatic effect, or so I thought, and then said, "What do we do now?" Lonnie, look what you've done. You and your team have truly achieved a monumental achievement. Congratulations. Our next speaker signed the legislation and assured the museum's place on the National Mall. My husband, President George W. Bush.
Thank you all. Thank you, darling. Laura's been very much engaged in this museum for a long time. She sits on the board, and we're honored to be here. My first reaction is, I hope all our fellow citizens come and look at this place. It is fabulous. Mr. President, First Lady, Vice President, Chief Justice, David, thank you very much, the board. I do want to give a shout out to Lonnie. It's really important to understand this project would not and could not have happened without his drive, his energy, and his optimism. As Laura mentioned, 15 years ago, members from both parties, Congressman John Lewis and Sam Brownback, then Senator from Kansas, informed me that they were about to introduce legislation creating a new museum to share the stories and celebrate the achievements of African Americans. You know, it'd be fair to say that the Congress and I did not always see eye to eye, if you know what I mean, Mr. President. But this is one issue where we strongly agreed. I was honored to sign the bill authorizing the construction of this national treasure. And I'm pleased it now stands where it has always belonged, on the National Mall. This museum is an important addition to our country for many reasons. Here are three. First, it shows our commitment to truth. Great nation does not hide its history. It faces its flaws and corrects them. This museum tells the truth that a country founded on the promise of liberty held millions in chains, that the price of our union was America's original sin. From the beginning, some spoke the truth. John Adams, who called slavery an evil of colossal magnitude. Their voices were not heeded and often not heard, but they were always known to a power greater than any on earth, one who loves his children and meant them to be free. Second, this museum shows America's capacity to change. For centuries, slavery and segregation seemed permanent parts of our national life, but not to Nat Turner or Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, or Martin Luther King Jr. All mastered cruelty with courage and hope. In a society governed by the people, no wrong lasts forever. After struggle and sacrifice, the American people, acting through the most democratic of means, amended the Constitution that originally treated slaves as 3/5 of a person to guarantee equal protection of the laws. After a decade of struggle, Civil Rights Acts and Voting Rights Acts were finally enacted. Even today, the journey toward justice is still not complete, but this museum will inspire us to go farther and get there faster. And finally, the museum showcases the talent of some of our finest Americans. The galleries celebrate not only African American equality, but African American greatness. I can't help but note that I cannot help but note that a huge influence in my teenage years is honored here, the great Chuck Berry. Or my baseball idol, growing up in far west Texas, the great Willie Mays. And of course, something I never really mastered, the ability to give a good speech, but Thurgood Marshall sure could. As some of you may know, I'm a fledgling painter, a struggling artist. I have a new appreciation for the artists whose brilliant works are displayed here. People like Robert Duncanson, Henry Oswald Tanner, Charles Henry Alston. Our country is better and more vibrant because of their contributions and the contributions of millions of African Americans. No telling of American history is neither complete nor accurate without acknowledging them. The lesson of this museum is that all Americans share a past and a future. By staying true to our principles, righting injustice, and encouraging the empowerment of all, we will be an even greater nation for generations to come. I congratulate all those who played a role in creating this wonderful museum. May God bless us all.
All right, poignant remarks there from President George W. Bush, having signed the 2003 legislation after many decades of trying to get this museum going. He signed that legislation, helping to release money to help fund this $540 million project. Of course, President Barack Obama will be speaking soon, and when he does, we'll take you back to the nation's capital there and the opening of the African American Museum of History and